Here's what we're talking about today here on The Now. Let's take a look at our lineup as there's a new wellness trend claiming to reduce stress and improve sleep. So we're going to get some answers on if light therapy actually works. And there's a new way to track the benefits people are getting from opioids. It can also make sure they get off of them before they start causing harm. And, you know, in the new year, people thinking about getting back in shape. And there's a lot of people not the biggest fan if they have love handles. But we're going to show you how they are actually now offering hope for people with breast cancer.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and you're watching The Now Indy on RTV6. Experts believe this flu season is shaping up to be one of the worst in decades. The CDC says at least 2,900 people have died across the United States as a result of the flu, 9 in Indiana. Many of us spend our days either in the office or in a classroom. RTV6's Kelsey Anderson takes a look at the germiest places in those areas.
Well, what's not surprising is that your desk is often the germiest place in your office. But what I did find surprising is that a woman's desk often contains 2 times more germs than her male coworkers because of the extra purses, phones, bags, all the extra things that we keep on our desks.
When we're in a room all together, you know, it takes 3 to 6 feet. Somebody sneezes and all of that droplet, you know, flies everywhere.
Mary Kay Foster is a registered nurse at IU Health Methodist Hospital. She says they saw a dip in flu cases over the holidays, and it's probably because everyone was home and not spreading germs at work and at school.
Hand hygiene is really important, whether it's using a hand gel in your pocket or washing your hands real frequently.
Offices are covered in germs, so make sure you're taking extra precautions this flu season. Try to avoid touching doorknobs and handles with your bare hands, and be aware of shared surfaces like the microwave, coffee maker, the printer, and especially the bathrooms.
Oh, it hits very fast, and it'll last 2 to 5 days. If you're relatively healthy.
Foster says you're contagious about 24 hours before symptoms start. So it's important that if you are feeling ill, you don't go to work.
The symptoms would include fever, chills, aches, body joint pain, muscle pain. It can include some nausea, vomiting, cough. You just feel like you've been run over by a truck, basically.
And here's something to keep in mind as we continue through this flu season. The average person touches their face 16 times an hour. So before you touch anything, especially your face, think about it first. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Good tips there. Thank you, Kelsey. Tomorrow's expected to be a life-changing day for the handler of Butler University mascot Blue 3. Michael Kaltenmark is scheduled to receive a new kidney tomorrow from his brother. Kaltenmark has been very public about his need for a kidney, announcing the news on Twitter in April. Last month, he announced that his brother is a match and surgery is scheduled for tomorrow. A kidney is the most needed organ in Indiana and nationally. According to the Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network, there are more than 1,300 people waiting for some type of organ. Of those, 1,081 are waiting for a kidney, 91 for a liver, and 85 for a heart. You can sign up to be an organ donor when you renew your driver's license. You can also go to unos.org. UNOS stands for United Network for Organ Sharing. Kyle.
Enjoying a lot of sunshine out there across central Indiana today, but it was chilly. Temperatures only in the 30s officially in Indianapolis. That's the first time we haven't made it out of the 30s and into the 40s or even 50s this year. Well, temperatures right now, a little bit of a spread out there. We've got the middle 20s around Peru, Tipton at 27, but check out Bloomington and Bedford with those temperatures in the lower 40s. And the warmer temperatures are going to win out here over the next couple of days. The satellite and radar is very quiet. That's also going to be changing as we go later into the week. But if you're heading out to the Pacers game this evening, no problems. Temperatures are going to hold fairly steady for us in the middle 20s as we have that east breeze around 10 miles per hour. Coming up, we're going to talk about some gusty winds for the next couple of days. That will bring in some near record warmth, pushing temperatures around 60 degrees, but also some heavy rain potential into the upcoming weekend. Chris?
Middle East experts say it appears both Iran and the United States are standing down in terms of attacks and retaliation, saying that neither side wants a war, especially when you look at the timing of last night's Iranian attack on U.S. bases.
It looks like what the Iranians were trying to do is to show that they weren't going to be pushed around, but they weren't trying to increase the level of violence any. They wanted to damage property, but not people.
Professor Stephen Biddle says it would be a smart move by the U.S. when it comes to avoiding a bigger conflict to not retaliate with force. President did say the U.S. will put new sanctions on Iran, and if things were to continue to escalate, he says there are plenty of U.S. targets at risk.
Iran has invested very, very heavily in cyber capabilities. The United States economy is powerfully dependent on the internet these days.
Now, Biddle says Iranian sleeper cells could be in the U.S. that could carry out attacks, and American diplomats at U.S. embassies, as well as Americans working and traveling abroad, could be at risk should tensions reignite. Let's start the news feed. Ukraine is sending a team of experts to investigate the Ukraine-bound plane that crashed in Iran, killing everyone on board. Now, this plane took off in Tehran and lost communication about 2 minutes later. The Boeing plane that crashed was not one of the 737 MAXs that have been grounded for almost a year. A federal appeals court rejected a Trump administration immigration proposal would have factored in whether people are on public benefits when it comes to becoming permanent residents, meaning people could have potentially been denied green cards because they use Medicaid or are on food stamps. Well, this may not come as a surprise, but scooter-related injuries are on the rise. University of California, San Francisco says that scooter injuries between 2014 and 2018 went up 222%. A third of patients had head trauma. A new warning from the DEA. The agency says more people are abusing stimulants. We're talking like Adderall and Ritalin. Experts say people between 18 and 25 are most likely to abuse the drugs. The DEA is now planning to launch a new campaign on this. And a new report is highlighting concerns surrounding alcohol. The number of Americans who died from alcohol-related issues more than doubled from 1999 to 2017. That number jumping to more than 72,000 3 years ago. About half of these deaths were from liver disease, alcohol overdose, or alcohol mixed with other drugs. Men died at higher rates than women. All right, let's get back to our lineup here on the Now. Living paycheck to paycheck, let's face it, it is a stressful way to go. But it can even impact your mental health. So we're going to take a look at some of the ways that you can get help.
RTV6 is working for you.
College football's national champion will be decided on Monday, and 2 years from now, the center of the college football universe will be here in Indianapolis. Today, organizers updated the city's plans to host the 2022 College Football National Championship game at Lucas Oil Stadium. They also revealed the official logo for the title game for the first time. And as was the case from the Super Bowl, there will be a lot more going on than just football.
One of them events is Playoff Fan Central, which basically is an interactive fan fest at the convention center. And that will include interactive games for young people, clinics, exhibits that will be put on that people could enjoy at the convention center.
Visit Indy says the championship game is expected to bring more than 125,000 visitors to Indianapolis. Chris?
Americans are more optimistic about their finances. Nearly half of people think that they'll be debt-free within 5 years. Fewer people also expecting to die with debt. Just 7%, which is actually the lowest number since creditcards.com started looking at this in 2013. Americans are more confident about paying down car and personal loans, credit cards, mortgages, and home equity loans. Now, on the other hand, they are least confident about paying down student loans. Meanwhile, there's new research making a strong connection between financial policy and mental health. Researchers looking at states that raised their minimum wage above the federal level in the last 2 decades. Study found that raising minimum wage $1 led to the suicide rate dropping between 3 and 6%. So we're talking about 14,000 less suicides. Now, when the wage goes up $2, you're talking about almost 26,000 less. Experts say there needs to be more understanding that mental health factors are not always controlled. So we want to talk to a financial therapist about how a small amount of money can make a huge difference.
The researchers called it the death by despair. And I wonder if getting to a number that seems livable means that you have more of a sense of accomplishment or a sense of purpose or a sense of like, I am an adult doing an adult job.
Now, Megan McCoy says money and mental health are linked. Financial stress can cause depression or anxiety. Mental issues can lead to financial stress when you think of things like compulsive spending. And that's why she says there is special help that you can turn to.
I wish that people saw money as numbers. I wish it was just math and numerics on the paper, but it's not. So my whole goal with clients is to get them to embrace that it means more than that, and also try to get them to distance it and try to create a spending plan where they can actually spend money in accordance with their values and feel good and safe with their purchasing decisions.
Now, the Financial Therapy Association has a list of certified financial therapists all over the country on its website. Well, ahead here on the Now, light therapy, you may have heard of it. It's one of the latest trends that claims it can reduce aches, pain, and stress.
Recently, it's become very popular with celebrities and with the public in general in infrared saunas.
Now, we're going to get some answers on if this therapy actually works and who should stay away from it.
And Keller, right now.
Aches, pain, and stress as we get older, let's face it, it's just a part of life. But there is a new trend that claims to reduce all of those issues. Annie Taylor introducing us to light therapy and taking a look at whether it really works.
So I teach 7-8 classes a week here at Rise Nation, and then I do my own workouts as well. So I lift weights usually like 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay, so we might not be working out as much as Krista Delabovi, but at the end of the day, she still has the same aches and pains we have.
I feel it a lot of times at night when it's like I lay down for the day and everything just kind of like tightens up and like tenses up, and also sitting at a desk for a while, like I just start to feel it in my hips, and just kind of the joints start to get a little tight.
It wasn't until she was introduced to a new trend that she started noticing a difference. It's called light therapy. It can be in the form of a face mask, a sauna, or just a room filled with a certain colored light that's said to penetrate deep into the skin.
Recently, it's become very popular with celebrities and with the public in general in infrared saunas. The idea being that this infrared light can also potentially help with inflammation and skin rejuvenation, although some studies have actually shown the opposite effect.
Dr. Zaina Dejani says light therapy comes with claims of reducing stress and pain while improving sleep. It's become so popular, the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas opened the Blue Room using UVB light. But Dr. Dejani says there are people who shouldn't use light therapy, those with autoimmune disorders.
In that special situation, red and blue light may be harmful, but for the general population, they are safe.
This new trend isn't cheap. A single session can cost around $25. So although Dr. Dejani says not enough studies have been done to prove this does all that it claims, Krista says it's about more than just sitting under a light.
The amount of distraction and just noise that we experience constantly, all day, every day, I think anyone could benefit from just taking 10 minutes to just kind of disconnect and just spend a little time for yourself.
I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
Annie, thank you. The 2020 election could have a huge impact on the housing market. A new report from the financial firm BTIG looked at numbers following the 2016 election. It found that counties who voted for President Trump saw a 1.5% increase in the number of building permits, but counties that went for Hillary Clinton saw a decrease of nearly 9%. There are concerns over a new proposal by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The new rule cuts formal housing regulations. Now, housing advocates had liked those rules because they made housing planning and access more fair. Tools designed to address historical segregation of minorities, the disabled, and poor. And today's HUD leaders say that the 2015 requirements were just too difficult to meet.
Yes, fair housing is hard, but it's hard because of all the policies and practices that we've historically put in place that have meant that people have been racially segregated, and it's been allowed for communities to underinvest and disinvest in those communities that are segregated.
The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities looked at those getting rental assistance last year. They found those families were more likely to live in segregated communities with poor quality schools and lack of transportation. They say the new regulation misses the mark because it confuses affordable and quality housing with fair housing.
Thinking about the mom with 2 kids who will have trouble accessing housing for her family because of policies in place that will allow landlords to tell her no simply because she has a housing voucher and because she's black, or can't find housing in the nice suburban neighborhood because they were able to fight affordable housing being built there.
Now, the new rule is just a proposal. It's in a 60-day comment period right now. Housing groups plan to fight back.
And we're following breaking news on the city's northeast side. This is a live picture of a shooting scene near 42nd and Post. We are told the victim is a boy approximately 13 years old. He is in critical condition at Riley Hospital for Children. Police say everyone involved in this case are related. We do not know what led to the shooting. We will continue to follow this breaking story.
All right, check out this view. We've got a stunning sunset in place here across central Indiana this evening as we mix in just a few clouds with all that sunshine that we've had throughout the day. And the clouds are going to continue to increase as we go through the next couple of days, eventually leading to some rain. Fortunately, we're dry right now. Otherwise, we'd be dealing with some snow at 32 degrees. Air is very dry. Our humidity just 42%. Fortunately, the wind is fairly calm. Now, tonight, temperatures will dip into the 20s, but actually start to rise. So as we go into tomorrow morning, we're right around 32, a little warmer than recent mornings. And we'll see a mix of sun and clouds here as we go through the afternoon. It's going to be breezy. And look at that temperature. We are into the 50s tomorrow before those showers arrive tomorrow evening. And here's a look at the wind gust forecast. So especially as we get into the second half of the day, we're talking about wind gusts out of the south of 30 to possibly 40 miles per hour for a prolonged period of time. Now, TrueCast at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening shows that we've got the clouds, just a couple of showers at that point. More widespread rain, though, as we go into the overnight hours throughout the day on Friday. Looks like some of the heaviest rain will come our way as we go into Saturday before this system begins to start to pull away on Saturday night. Right now, a couple of the weather models focusing in on about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall with some of the heaviest rain off to the north and west. But it's all rain with these temperatures around 60 degrees as we go into the start of the weekend, drying out, and 40 on Sunday. Chris?
Let's start the Now News feed. Facebook and eBay are cracking down on fake reviews in the United Kingdom. Two sites promised the British government they would do more. They removed hundreds of accounts, pages, and groups. The U.S. job market finished the year strong. Companies adding 202,000 jobs in December. Construction, trade, transportation, and utilities led the way. Soon it'll be tax season, and there's a new report saying that taxpayers are half as likely to be audited as they were a decade ago, and cuts in staff at the IRS led to this. There is some good news regarding the death rate due to cancer in the United States. It dropped more than 2% from 2016 to 2017. That's the largest single-year drop since numbers started being recorded. The American Cancer Society says the progress can be credited to developments in the fight against lung cancer and melanoma. Now, some people, they're not the biggest fan of their love handles, but there is one woman who says they actually saved her life. Andrew Ramos with her story.
It was just a year ago when Stacy Dunn got the news that changed her life forever. The Long Island woman was diagnosed with breast cancer and later through genetic testing found out she carried the gene that put her at a higher risk of developing it again.
The course of treatment was going to be 4 months of chemotherapy and a double mastectomy. Honestly, that was the easy decision for me.
The challenge for Dunn and her doctors at Long Island Jewish Medical Center in New Hyde Park was reconstruction. The Lindenhurst woman immediately ruled out implants, instead going down the natural route. Tissue-based reconstruction, which involves replacing the mammary glands with her own tissue. But there was one hurdle.
The only area that we could find excess tissue on Stacy was in the love handle area, and I don't think anyone wants to hear that, but that's where we looked.
You know, go figure that the one area that I was a little self-conscious about, made me, saved me basically.
The groundbreaking and complex surgery took more than 11 hours, and 2 months later has Dunn feeling close to normal.
Honestly, I feel great, confident, and I'm me again.
The big takeaway, according to Dunn's medical team, is for patients to always understand all their options, never taking no for an answer.
Surgeons have to work with their patients to really listen and understand what their priorities are and then come up with the solution. And so it's very important for patients to get good information.
Andrew, thank you. Let's get back to our lineup. And there's a new way to track the benefits and risks from opioids, how it gives doctors information they wouldn't normally know.